Today I'm going to be working with Castor on targeting my hand. So this is how I taught him to accept touch, and I just did this pretty much all over his body. Besides, once I got to like the hindquarters, because I didn't want him pushing those toward me, but instead of me going and touching him and like forcing him to stand still or like trapping him or something, he is going to touch me and be rewarded for it. So this was really the key to both of the Mustangs. It worked really, really well. So that is what I really like out of that. So with the hay that I'm feeding him, he's just having Timothy hay. And I just kind of rolled it up because I want him to get used to eating treats from my hand. So he's right now afraid of eating anything from my hand that's not this hay. So that's why you're seeing me roll it up. So he actually has to touch my hand. So I'm not just handing it to him like I'm holding it from the side. He just grabs one side. He doesn't touch my hand. He actually has to when I roll it up like that. So I am doing that on purpose. So right now, I'm just working on him standing quietly next to me. So I'm just kind of following through Mustang Camp's checklist. She has a bunch of different horses that she trains, and I thought that was awesome. Like, let's try it. So that's what I'm doing here. And one of the first like tasks that she has is just standing still and like it's a default basically. The horse stands still, nice and relaxed next to you, and you reward that. And that's what we're doing here. So and I'm just going to do that on both sides. This is super important for all horses, but it's just a nice place to start as well because he looks nice and relaxed. I can click and reward this. This looks good. So I probably should have rewarded more, so click and reward that. Um, I definitely should have rewarded more, so and more often, and I probably say that in most of my videos with Castor specifically. But he did really well regardless. So I don't think I'm counting right now. So originally like I'll count like one, two, three, okay, click, and then filled it up. I don't think I did that in the beginning. But really what you're looking for most is that relaxation. And he looks quite relaxed. I'm gonna click here. Go ahead and feed him. And he's taking it nicely. He does end up touching my hand. And this looks quite good. I'm gonna let him go ahead and sniff and kind of investigate a little bit just because they are wild. If you have a horse that's more pushy, I would just kind of block their head and let them stay over here. And once they're straight and their head and neck is straight, then I would click and reward that. So I'm just hanging out with him here. We're gonna work on that a little bit. So he's not gonna get fed over here though. I'm not gonna click while he's over here. I'm not gonna feed him over here. But for him, since I want him to be more curious and comfortable, I'm just gonna let him be. See, as soon as I move my hand, he moves his head away really quickly. So that's the thing about it is I don't want to not necessarily punish, but I want to reward him or let him explore. So I don't want to reward and I don't want to punish, but I'm gonna let him explore me as far as that goes. So go ahead and we're gonna do the same thing on the other side. He's a little bit more confident on this side. Obviously, probably work on this side a little bit more than the other. So again, I'll let him kind of hang out. I shouldn't reward him for having his head close to me. I am feeding away nicely though. So ideally I should have his head a little bit straighter and he shouldn't be bent toward me because he did have that for a while. So like when I had Atlas, he wanted to kind of take a step toward me. With Castor, it's like a little bit of a head lean or like a neck turn. So I should wait for him to straighten out here. So again, should have waited for his head to be a little bit straighter. um, like that. I want his head over here. I don't necessarily need it turned away, but I should have it straight. It's like right there is nice. I should have clicked that. But I am also letting him chew. This is good. So let him explore, but I shouldn't click here. Let him hang out. He's being really calm. He's nice and relaxed. There, I should click this. Like his ears are moving. There, that was perfect. Click that. Um, His ears are moving, he's looking around, he's interested, he's curious, but he's relaxed, his neck's nice and level, he's blinking his eyes. All really, really good signs. And then I'm going to ask him to touch my hand. So then when he touches my hand, I'm going to click and reward. And I just kind of let him, like I held my hand there for a second and then click. So you can start building up duration by doing that. And so what I did is I started at his nose because he knows how to target my hand on his nose, and then I just worked down his face and down his neck to his shoulder, where he would just eventually bring his shoulder a step over, and that's as far as I went. I didn't go anything past that. You can if you want to with a relaxed domestic horse. I just didn't want a chance teaching him like a hip target over. Just I did not that he's gonna be bad about it, but he could get confused and then get scared, and then someone could get hurt. So I just didn't want that part. So now this is my cue for leading, so I'll just kind of walk and ask him to come touch my hand. That looked really nice. Click that. So he's really getting to the leading part, and I'm just moving him over so that the camera can see. See how I had my hand out to the side and he brings his head over? That's exactly what I want. I mean, again, I want to feed straight and keep his head away, but I'm asking him to come over. I'm not going to reward if he's bringing himself over. It's going to be me asking. So my hand's over here, and he brings his neck over a little bit more. There it is, and I'm going to reward. And sometimes I'll kind of meet him in the middle. Like if he's leaned a little bit but not fully, I'll just kind of bring my hand slightly over there in the beginning. But that's a good tell too, because you can see, okay, he's not super comfortable or he's confused. But if he's bringing his body part to meet your hand every time, then he's comfortable and he's not confused. So click that. That was nice. Wait for his head away. There, that was perfect. This worked really, really well for Castor and Atlas, but Castor really figured this out quickly, and you'll see later he did not feel comfortable being touched behind, like on the saddle area and the girth area, and it really worked well for him. So and it was slightly different because he doesn't come target me because I didn't want him pushing his body toward me, but I did it in this slow steps, like just baby steps for him because he was so afraid of it. So step away, and this gives him confidence as well. I'm stepping away from him, so he doesn't have anything to do with me coming at him. That's where like a lot of horses get really afraid, is I'm coming to them and then I want to touch them, and so then they feel like trapped or pressured, or I'm trying to get them. So I'm just waiting for him here. I want him to touch me, and I want that middle part of his face. He gets a little stuck on just bringing me his nose, so I'm gonna wait for him. He's thinking about it. He's not super sure. He's like, okay, I want to touch you with my nose. That's what I'm supposed to do. But I'm just gonna kind of wait him out here. And he's not super worried. I'm just gonna ask again. And leaning away does help when I take that step back. There we go. A little bit of a click there, or a touch there. And still wants to move his nose over. Click that and feed him. So when I step back, that's also giving him some confidence, because I'm not coming in there and forcing anything on him. He has to come to me. So that just makes him feel a lot braver, I find. Click that. That was really nice. And it's just going to be a little baby touch. Like, it's not going to be too dramatic. It might be a bit more exaggerated on a domestic horse, but just none of the Mustangs have that. So they're all pretty, there, he's gonna sniff me. I'm gonna let all this happen. I want him to investigate and sniff, and he's being good. He's not trying to do anything. So I put my hand on his forehead, just above, he raised it up, I click and feed. So I did it in different places all over, like his head and his neck, just to get him used to that. So again, I'm not touching him here, I'm just gonna wait. There. Click that, and reward him. And you can tell when he does it there versus when I go to pet him, he doesn't put his ears back, which I thought was interesting as well. He was a little worried about his ears. He didn't like that. I just want to do it like above his eye. There we go. Click that. Like he was a little finicky about his ears at first, which is pretty normal. So that really helped me touch them as well. I'm just going to hold out. There he clicked. Or he touched and I clicked. And then again, feet away. Let him be curious, and then I'll ask again. Click that. So I probably shouldn't have necessarily moved my hand to a bunch of different places as quickly as I did. Probably should have stayed on like the nose, and then between his nose and his eyes, and then his forehead and his ears, and kind of work my way down. I kind of moved around a little bit more here, so if your horse is struggling, make sure he's good with one spot, and then move on, and then continue. see here, he's like not sure. He's got his ears back, but he's gonna, there, he brought it up. I clicked and then fed him. So he kind of bring that ear up once I clicked, but not too bad. He's just gotta get used to, like, he has the power here. He's got the control. So there we go, click that. And when I move slower and more quietly, he's more confident as well. And this is also giving him and I a good bonding experience here, because all this time where I'm just standing and waiting for him to chew, it's just good time where he's pairing me with good emotions and good things, and we're just hanging out and he's just eating and I'm not hurting him or scaring him or anything or asking him to do anything. So that's really, really good for our relationship as well. So I brought his ear over and click and reward that. I'm just kind of moving him for the camera here, so we don't have to do very much leading, but I just wanted the camera to be able to see what I was doing. There, I'm trying to get some of his ear, just a little bit, just the side of it. Click and feed that. Again, wait for his neck, click that. A little bit further back here, click that. He got the neck fairly well. He got the neck target pretty quickly. Just gonna wait for him. Probably asked a little too soon. I probably could have given him another minute to chew, and then he probably would have responded quicker. Click that. He thinks maybe he touches his hand to my arm, but I want his neck to my hand. But his body language looks great. His top line's nice and relaxed. He's got that hind foot cocked. He's just chewing nice and slowly. Very relaxed. I love this. That. I'm clicking as soon as his neck touches my hand or whatever body part I'm asking for, and then feeding. So I don't want the head, I was looking for the neck, so I'm just going to move back. A horse might not get it at first, but as soon as as long as he draws decently and you can back up and he wants to come towards you, he'll figure it out. He's a little confused. That's okay. There we go. He wanted to back up for a minute and then he figured it out. So I'm just going to move him. Let him touch my hand. Click that. And your sessions might have to be a lot shorter than this. This one was actually quite long. You might have to do one side of the horse and then come back later, or do something else, break it down a little bit more, but he stayed pretty interested and engaged, so I just kept going. That looks really good. Yeah, I just started the nose and I worked my way up. That's usually how I did it, and then once he was pretty solid with targeting each part, like each part of his head and neck to my hand, then you can kind of mix them up and ask for different ones. Just for his cheek. That. And I like his response too. He's not throwing his head, he's not swinging it around real quickly, he's just slowly bringing it to my hand. Click that. Ask again behind his So, a butterfly tried to land on me. And it scared me and it scared him. And we're just not going to worry about it. We're just going to keep going with what we were doing. I am afraid of butterflies. They freak me out. So I didn't think it was going to land on me. But I'm just not going to make a big deal about it because Eventually he'll get used to like, oh, I jump in a bug or whatever, and he's like, it's not a big deal. But his reaction afterward was perfect. Like some things are gonna scare him, just like they scare people. He might jump, but then he came right back. He didn't take off, he didn't buck, he didn't just not want to engage anymore. I think the butterfly is still on me and it's not. But so I love his reaction afterward. We just went right back on with targeting. So that looks really, really great. So I don't have any problems with that at all. Let's kind of work on his ear here. He wants to kind of rotate his head around instead and do like his nose. I'm like, no, that's not what we want. I'm just gonna have to back up a little bit and just be persistent that I want this other body part and not the nose. Because if you're like, oh, okay, well, you're good with the nose, then that's all he's gonna know. And he's just gonna continually put his nose on the hand and not try other things. There we go, click that and feed that. Have my hand out. You just can't really tell from this angle. We're just working on that spot, like right below the ear. Work on his neck here. Reward that. This is a little bit better angle. There we go. Click. And then I should wait till his head is over there. Click that. I'm okay if he moves his feet a little bit. He's not being pushy necessarily. He's just kind of making sure that he's close enough. You do want to make sure that they're not getting too close. You can work in protected contact or teach him to back up. Both of those would work well. Ask again. And click and reward that. Click. That was perfect. Yeah, that's exactly what I'm looking for is that nice, easy response. He stays nice and relaxed. I'm just gonna give him a minute here. Let him eat. We're just gonna hang out, and then that was really nice. He brought his head a lot more quickly over, like he didn't rush, but he just went right to it, so he understands what it is that I'm asking for. No, ask again. And again, that was really nice. Click that and go ahead and feed him. Same thing. Click and then feed him. Click that and then feed again. And he's doing pretty well. Like I could probably move on at this point. Try the forehead a little bit. He's not super sure. He wants to offer me a different part of his face. So I'm just gonna kind of move my hand a little bit. Like, no, that's not what I want. So he's letting me put my hand up there. There, click that. Just as soon as he touches my hand, and reward it. Great. He really struggles with that one. Like that. Click that. There, he's getting it a little bit better that time. And this is going to help in just haltering and bridling. And it can be hard in the beginning because you're so used to just, okay, hold still, I'm going to do this to you, it's hard to switch over to them participating. So it's a little bit different. And like I kind of I'll bring my phone with me because I want a little bit of just they can hang out and I'll kind of check it. And I'm not like I'm paying attention, but it's not like the whole time doesn't need to be we're gonna do this focused training every single time, like throughout the whole session. I can kind of look at that, let them have a minute, take a break. That I feel like it helps a lot too, because that's gonna be pretty much like the real world. If he goes to horse show, he's gonna have to wait around for a bit. He's gonna have to wait for the farrier, the vet. He's gonna have to do a lot of waiting. So might as well start it now. So that looks really nice. I think he's pretty solid on all of these things. I can start working a little bit further down his body. And he's leading quite nicely. Just kind of get him in position here. I'll kind of work on his neck a little bit. So I want him to wait and not just push himself into me. I want him to just stand there. There we go, that looks good. Now, if you are going to teach your horse like to stay or ground tie, you're going to have to make your cue different because some people want to hold their hand up like that and stay or stand or something and then leave, and that might be confusing. So just be aware of that. Like he's supposed to target me. Really, I mean, if your horse doesn't have like a touching issue or it's not wild, you probably don't need to do this. But if you do, just like it's just a different cue for my horses. So I haven't really done this after he's known it, like it's not part of his training anymore because he lets me touch him and we're both on the same page. But his cue to stand is I touch him on the forehead, like between the eyes, and then I say stand and then I walk away. And he understands that quite well. But just be aware that your cues aren't very, very similar so your horse doesn't get confused. So, and if you are trying to teach these at the same time, just kind of be aware of that. There, I kind of step back, draw him toward me, and then click once he touches my hand. So that was really nice. I think he's really gotten this pretty well. I don't have a lot of things that I would change on this one. This looks quite good. Just gonna wait for him here. I probably should have waited for him to stop chewing and get all the way through his food here because he would have been more inclined to work for some more food, but it's okay. So he's a little confused here. He thinks put his head on my hand instead of the neck. That's okay. There, he must have leaned over. It's hard to see from this angle. But be careful when you teach targeting like your hand to lead, is that the horse's mouth needs to be closed. Some horses that are really nippy, they're going to take that as an opportunity to nip at you. So if you definitely need to do it and you want to work on your horse targeting your hand or following your hand, make sure the horse's mouth is closed, or I would just use a target. And I'd probably start there with a target and make sure they're not biting that, and then work your way to your hand. That would be important, but just make sure that their mouth is closed. And same thing with targeting. You don't want them to bite the target either. But so I'm just gonna wait for him here and wait for that lean. There we go. A little bit more. So they have to definitely either take that step over with their front legs, or they have to lean or turn their neck a lot more. So I probably should have put my hand down and then just asked again here because he's just not really paying attention. It's not really moving as much as I'd like. There we go. Click that. There we go. He kind of used his front feet and stepped over, so that's really good. And I am okay with either one. I'm okay if he steps over with his front feet, and I'm okay if he turns his neck or moves his head. I'm okay with those things. So click that. That looks quite good. You also got to be careful that you're not teaching the horse to come stand on top of you. In this video, I'm not rewarding as much as I should have of him just standing away from me because he's kind of gotten that. After I click him and feed him, I have enough distance, like an arm's length away, where he just kind of stands and eats his food. But you might have to reward your horse in that position between hand targets to show them, like, you stay here until I ask, and then that's the only time you need to come toward me. Because like Atlas, he started to kind of step toward me, which wasn't bad. I had been rewarding it, but you got to be careful so you don't create a horse that's always stepping towards you or wants to stand too close to you. So just something to be aware of. I'll do a little bit more and he'll be done for today because he was struggling on that neck target, so he's really getting that now. I'm going to draw him to me a little bit. We'll back up. There, I'll click and feed him. And again, this session went a little bit longer than I probably should have. I would try to just do like half this long, probably 10 minutes, and then like doing both sides if they're confident with that, and then moving on or giving them a break or coming back later. So just keep things fresh and keep them interested in participating. Like that. That was really good. So overall, really nice session and how I got him to accept some touch.